In the ancient kingdom of Eldoria, a warrior named Riven served with unwavering loyalty to his liege and best friend, Prince Darius. Riven was known for his unmatched skill in battle and his fierce dedication to protecting the kingdom. Together, he and Darius fought countless battles, defending Eldoria from external threats. Their bond was forged in the heat of battle, and Riven believed nothing could break their brotherhood. However, within the shadows of the palace, a dark plot was brewing. Ambitious and power-hungry, Darius desired more than just the throne. He wanted absolute control. Fearing Riven's influence and strength, he saw his closest friend as a potential threat to his ambitions. During a sudden and bloody coup to seize power, Darius lured Riven into a trap. Betrayed and outnumbered, Riven fought valiantly, but the betrayal left him vulnerable. Struck down by Darius himself, Riven was left for dead in the desolate wilderness. As darkness closed in, Riven was found by members of an ancient, secretive order known as the Phoenix Brotherhood. The order was shrouded in mystery, said to possess the power of the Phoenix, allowing its members to rise from death stronger than before. They took Riven to their hidden sanctuary, deep within the mountains. On the brink of death, Riven was initiated into the order, undergoing a ritual that infused him with the power of the Phoenix. When Riven awoke, he was reborn. His body healed and his strength amplified. But with this power came a price. Riven had to pledge his loyalty to the Phoenix Brotherhood. He was bound by their ancient code, which demanded that he serve their mission to protect the balance of the world. Vengeance was no longer his only purpose. He now had a higher calling. The order warned Riven that should he stray from their path, the power they granted him would be taken away and he would perish as he should have that fateful day. Riven accepted these terms, driven by a burning desire to reclaim his honor and ultimately confront Darius. He began his training with the Order, mastering the Phoenix's power and learning the ways of the Brotherhood. Over time, he grew in strength and wisdom, but the memory of Darius's betrayal lingered. For 5 long years, Riven immersed himself in the rigorous training of the Phoenix Brotherhood. The Order's teachings were unlike anything he had ever encountered. They demanded not only physical prowess, but also mental and spiritual discipline. Riven learned to harness the power of the Phoenix, which allowed him to heal rapidly, rise from death, and grow stronger with each resurrection. The Brotherhood's philosophy emphasized balance, patience, and the protection of the innocent, values that Riven struggled to reconcile with his burning desire for revenge. Each day, Riven faced trials designed to test his loyalty to the Order and his ability to control his newfound powers. He was taught to channel his rage into focused energy, using it to fuel his strength rather than let it consume him. The Brotherhood sent him on missions across the kingdom where he acted as a guardian, defending villages from bandits, quelling uprisings, and ultimately eliminating corrupt officials. These tasks were meant to temper his spirit and reinforce the Order's principles. Despite his outward dedication, the desire for revenge against Darius remained a constant undercurrent in Riven's thoughts. He executed the Order's missions with precision, but the memory of Darius's betrayal haunted him, a wound that refused to heal. The Brotherhood's leaders, wise and ancient, observed Riven closely. Aware of the internal struggle he faced, they reminded him that the path of vengeance would lead to destruction, not only of himself, but of the balance they sought to protect. One evening, after returning from a particularly grueling mission, Riven sat alone in the sanctuary's meditation chamber. The flickering light of the ceremonial fire cast shadows on the walls, and the silence was broken only by the crackling of flames. As he reflected on his journey, a realization began to take root in his mind. The power of the Phoenix was not merely a tool for revenge, but a gift that could be used for a higher purpose. Riven's anger began to cool, replaced by a sense of duty to the Order and the people he had sworn to protect. His focus shifted from vengeance to the mission of the Brotherhood. He resolved to continue serving the Order, allowing their wisdom to guide him. The inner turmoil that had plagued him for so long began to subside, replaced by a growing sense of peace. However, the question of how he would face Darius remained unanswered, lingering in the depth of his mind like a dormant flame. As Riven continued his service to the Phoenix Brotherhood, the kingdom of Eldoria suffered under the tyrannical rule of King Darius. The once noble prince had transformed into a despot, ruling with an iron fist and instilling fear in the hearts of his subjects. Darius's obsession with power led him to wage wars against neighboring kingdoms, deplete the kingdom's resources, and impose harsh taxes on the people. The once prosperous land of Eldoria was now a shadow of its former self, ravaged by greed and cruelty. Rumors of Darius's cruelty spread far and wide, reaching even the secluded sanctuary of the Phoenix Brotherhood. The order, which had remained neutral in the political affairs of the kingdom, could no longer ignore the sufferings of the people. The leaders of the Brotherhood convened to discuss the situation, and it was decided that Darius's reign posed a significant threat to the balance they were sworn to protect. To Riven's shock, the Brotherhood assigned him to the mission to confront and eliminate Darius. It was a moment he had both dreaded and longed for. The opportunity to confront his former friend, the man who had betrayed him, was finally within his grasp. Yet, Riven found himself conflicted. The teachings of the Brotherhood had changed him, tempering his desire for revenge with a sense of duty and justice. He realized that his mission was not just about personal vengeance, but about restoring balance and ending the suffering of his people. As Riven prepared for his journey back to the kingdom, memories of his time with Darius flooded his mind. He remembered the bond they had shared, the battles they had fought side by side, and the trust that had been shattered by betrayal. The anger that once consumed him had been replaced by a deep sadness, a mourning for the loss of a brother and the fall of a noble prince. Disguised as a wandering warrior, Riven infiltrated the capital city, now a place of despair and oppression. The people he once swore to protect now lived in fear, their spirits broken by Darius's reign. As Riven moved through the streets, he could feel the weight of their suffering pressing down on him. The time had come to face Darius, not as a friend, nor as an enemy, but as a warrior of the Phoenix Brotherhood, carrying out the will of the order and the hope of the people. Riven made his way through the labyrinth corridors of the castle, his steps silent and purposeful. The memories of the palace, once a place of warmth and camaraderie, now felt cold and alien. Every shadow seemed to whisper of betrayal, every echo a reminder of the past he had left behind. Riven's heart was steady, his mind focused. Years of training with the Phoenix Brotherhood had prepared him for this moment. At last, Riven reached the throne room, where Darius sat in regal splendor. Surrounded by sycophants and guards, the Tyrant King, once his closest friend, now appeared as a hollow shell of the man he once knew. Riven could see the corruption etched in Darius's features, the madness in his eyes, and the weight of the crown. The room fell silent as Riven stepped forward, revealing himself. Darius's eyes widened in disbelief, then narrowed in recognition and anger. "Riven," he spat, rising from the throne. "I should have known you would come back. You always were too stubborn to die." Riven met his gaze with calm resolve. "I have not come for revenge, Darius. I have come to end the suffering you have caused and to restore balance to this kingdom." Darius sneered, drawing his sword. "You think you can defeat me? I am the king. I am power incarnate." The battle that ensued was fierce and swift. Darius fought with the desperation of a man who knew his reign was over, but Riven's skill and power was unmatched. Every strike from Darius was met with a counter, every move anticipated. Riven fought not with anger, but with the discipline and purpose instilled in him by the Phoenix Brotherhood. As the battle reached its climax, Riven disarmed Darius, sending his sword clattering to the ground. The king fell to his knees defeated, his breath raged. Riven stood over him, sword in hand, but instead of delivering the final blow, he hesitated. The anger and thirst for vengeance that had once driven him were gone, replaced by a profound sense of pity. "I forgive you, Darius," Riven said softly, lowering his sword. "But your time as king is over." Darius looked up in disbelief, his expression a mix of rage and confusion. "You forgive me?" Riven nodded. "I have found a higher purpose. My mission is not to destroy, but to protect and restore what had been lost." With that, Riven turned and walked away, leaving Darius to his fate. The guards and sycophants who had once surrounded the king now recoiled in fear and uncertainty. Riven left the throne room, knowing that the true battle had been within himself and that he had emerged victorious. Riven stood on the balcony of the castle overlooking the kingdom of Eldoria. As the first light of the dawn broke over the horizon, the air was crisp and cool, a stark contrast to the turmoil that had gripped the kingdom for so long. The people of Eldoria, having heard of the Tyrant King's fall, began to emerge from their homes, their faces filled with hope and anticipation. The Phoenix Brotherhood had kept its word. They had taken away Darius' power, and with it, the corrupt influence that had plagued the land. Riven had fulfilled his mission, not through vengeance, but through justice and mercy. He had reclaimed his honor, not by taking life, but by choosing to preserve it. The kingdom, though scarred by years of tyranny, was beginning to heal. Riven knew that his journey was far from over. The Phoenix Brotherhood had shown that his purpose extended beyond personal vendettas. He was now a protector of the balance, a guardian of the people, and a warrior of the light. His loyalty to the Brotherhood had grown stronger, and he understood that his destiny was tied to their mission. As the sun rose higher, casting a golden glow over the kingdom, Riven reflected on the path that lay ahead. The Phoenix Brotherhood had many enemies, and the world was full of threats to the balance they sought to protect. Riven knew that he would face more battles, more challenges, and more trials, but he was no longer driven by anger or the desire for revenge. His heart was filled with purpose, and his mind was clear. Riven turned away from the balcony and made his way to the castle gates, where the people of Eldoria had gathered. As he approached, they looked at him with awe and gratitude. Riven addressed them with humility, telling them that the kingdom was theirs to rebuild, that they had the strength to restore it from its former glory. The people cheered, their spirits lifted by his words. Riven felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that he had not only reclaimed his honor, but had also given hope to those who had lost it. The Phoenix's Brotherhood had granted him the power to rise from the ashes, and with that power, he would continue to protect and serve. As Riven left the castle and began his journey back to the Brotherhood's sanctuary, he knew that his story was far from over. The world was vast, and there was still many wrongs to be righted, many lives to protect, but for the first time in a long while, Riven felt at peace. He had found this place in the world, not as a warrior seeking revenge, but as a guardian of the balance, a protector of the light. On that note, that wraps up this story. If you haven't already, I would appreciate if you would like and subscribe. Also, leave a comment on any stories you want me to bring to life. But other than that, while this story may come to an end, the start of another begins.